Do you enjoy wine? Do you not enjoy the headaches or hangovers that sometimes come with wine? Stay tuned because today we're learning all about organic, clean crafted wine that is good for you and leaves you feeling good too. Remember to subscribe for free information to help you create a happy and healthy life. Denyse Holloway, also known as the Wine and Wellness Woman, is a passionate advocate for self-care and life balance. After a successful career in fundraising, marketing, and project management, Denyse eventually changed gears to become a wellness advocate while running her community's #1 health and fitness business for over 20 years, encouraging her clients to seek balance in body, mind, and spirit. When a brand new wine company, Scout Cellar, came along, Denyse immediately knew she had discovered a missing piece in her wellness philosophy: clean, crafted wine that is farmed by small family vineyards working in harmony with the ecosystem, environmentally packaged, and naturally bottled without pesticides, chemicals, or sugars, and artisan crafted delicious. As a single mom of 2 teenage boys, both with ADHD, Denyse has made it her mission to spread the word about this healthier option in wine and continue to promote life balance through nurturing of the spirit, health of the body, and a positive mental outlook. Denyse, I'm so excited you're here. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Well, we are going to do some tasting, but first we're going to learn about Scout Cellar and how you got involved. And I'm really excited to try it because we first met, I don't know if we actually met, but I remember you from a morning networking meeting and no wine was there.
Right.
And then we were at an evening meeting together and you did have wine because it was a potluck, but I don't drink if I have to drive within 6 hours.
Very wise, yes.
I took a little sip, but it tasted so good and I was so excited to try it. And when I heard about what you were selling, I thought people need to know about this. This
Absolutely.
is so interesting.
Yes.
So tell us about Scout Cellar.
Well, Scout Cellar we're still a baby company. This is our 2-year anniversary. We're 2 this month. And we are a wine company in the United States that sources wine worldwide that is made clean crafted. And clean crafted is our proprietary standard, meaning there are 0 chemicals, 0 added sugars, 0 pesticides, and very low sulfites.
Wow. I don't think people know all that stuff is in their wine. We're going to get into that.
Correct.
But how did you become involved with Scout Cellar?
Well, I've been in health and wellness for over 20 years in the fitness world. And when you're helping people get healthy physically, it becomes apparent very quickly that wellness is a whole body endeavor, a whole person endeavor, not just the body, but the mind and the spirit. So my wellness philosophy is that you have to have health of the body, but of course you have to have a healthy outlook with your mind and nurture your spirit by coming together with your friends and celebrating joy. And for me, that always includes a nice glass of wine or 2.
Yeah, what better way to come together with your friends?
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Wine tends to do that, bring people together.
Yeah, I love that. And part of this is you do parties with people, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I come to homes and I do private tastings. I go to businesses and offer tastings there as well. I do events. And of course, online I can do seminars, webinars, anything like that.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
cool. So, God, everybody that I've been interviewing can do their services remotely. So that's another one that you can do remotely.
Yeah, it's really fun because I can go anywhere in the United States virtually and educate and inform people of the fun and insightful little webinar about the wine and answer questions, that way.
So is it just the information, or can they order wine ahead of time and do a tasting while you're doing the webinar?
Absolutely, we do that too. So they can have the wine on hand, they can have their friends over, and we can go through those wines as well as have the information about the company and the wine itself.
Oh, that's so fun. I'm going to have a gathering with my girlfriends with you very soon.
Great.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I can't wait. So were you already, it sounds like you were already a wine aficionado.
Absolutely not. I knew nothing about wine, no.
I was so under the impression that you really knew your wine and everything, and that's why you got into this.
I do now.
You do
right?
now, okay.
Because I've had training and education through Scout Cellar and through my own research. Of course, when I joined the company, I wanted to know as much as possible about wine and about our wine.
Yeah.
And so I did all the classes and the training, and now that we're growing and we're 2 years old, we have a very robust training system that we can be informed not just about wine, but clean crafted wine and agriculture in general, which has been really insightful for me.
Wow. Okay. Well, you are extremely knowledgeable, regardless of how long that's
Thank you.
been there. It reminds me when I was selling party light candles.
Ah.
I got my training and I learned things I never knew before.
Right. Yeah. Kind of eye-opening.
Trim your wick to 1/4 inch and burn it an hour per inch in diameter so it burns evenly. You know, all those little things. So it sounds like you've learned all of that regarding wine.
I'm still learning, you know.
Yeah.
I'm still, every day I learn something new, which is exciting.
Yeah. I can't wait to try.
Yeah.
So just tell me, what is the difference between organic wine and not organic wine?
Clean crafted wine, which is like our trademark, encompasses organic wine. It goes a step beyond. So you'll have organic wine, which is typically, when you see that in the store, wine that has been farmed with organic grapes. It doesn't mean that chemicals or sugars aren't added after the fact, or sulfites. With clean crafted, it's guaranteed that even from vineyard to cellar, there's no chemicals or additives in any step of the process. There's no sugars added, ever. And only the very minimal amount of sulfites is going to be present in the wine. And that's what sets clean crafted above organic.
Okay.
Unless unless the wine says certified USDA organic, then there will be restrictions on chemicals added, but not necessarily on sugars or sulfites. It's a very interesting and tricky business, the wine industry.
Yeah, I don't think people would know. I didn't know that sugars were added after, because I like sweet wines. The one sip I took was really good, so that's going to be the test too, because I like super sweet wines. The other test is that I did get a red. We have two. I have a white, a rosé, and a red. I think. I generally stay away from reds because the sulfites make my nose all stuffed up, give me a headache.
Yes, a common occurrence.
So we're going to try some. I don't know if it'll hit me fast enough for me to know. I'll report back.
Right.
But that's so that is probably good for people who do have that problem with reds. Right?
Absolutely, yes, because the standard in the market, conventional wine, we talk about a lot about conventional versus clean crafted. Well, conventional wine can have up to 350 parts per million in sulfites for that bottle of wine. Ours are usually around 50.
Wow.
Our guarantee is below 100, but most of them sit down around 50. So there's far less reactive if you have a sulfite sensitivity, which does cause congestion in a lot of people, or even headaches.
I think this will be a godsend for people who love red and can't drink it.
That is the feedback I get from many of my clients.
Yeah.
It's like, I can drink wine again, I can drink red again. And
so tell us about biodynamic wine.
Okay, biodynamic wine is a system of farming, and it's not just for wine, but any kind of farm can be biodynamic, which means they're working with the ecosystem as a whole. So they're fertilizing the soil with the resident farm animals, they're working with the flora and fauna that are naturally occurring in their vineyards or in their farms, and the biodynamic calendar is something they follow, which dictates what days they harvest, what days they plant, what days they water, and it's all according to this biodynamic calendar. When farmers convert from a conventional farm to a biodynamic farm, they find that they have a healthier, thriving crop. It's just more vibrant that way when you're working with the ecosystem as a whole. So that biodynamic farm is going to be self-sustaining.
Yeah, that's so important these days, because that's a whole other topic of agriculture. So should we taste some wine?
Certainly, let's get to it.
Okay, so here we have the wine.
Isn't it lovely?
Where should we start?
Well, when you're doing a wine tasting, you always want to start from light to dark.
Okay.
So we're going to start with the white wine, which is the resident white blend.
Okay. I'm going to let you know the amounts and everything, so I'm going to let you do it.
We're just going to pour tasting amounts, which is just 1.5 ounces or so. You're at home, you know.
At home, had lunch.
It's your discretion.
Don't have to drive.
Right? So I'm just going to give us each a little bit. The resident white blend is one of our private labels. It's from Oregon. And it's a blend. There we go, yeah. That label actually, all of our private labels tell a story. The picture of that guy, that's our owner, Sarah Shadnick's. That's her grandpa.
Really?
Yeah. So there's always something special about our labels. That's her granddaddy.
Wow, I saw her on your website. Oh, that's so special.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
Okay, so now tell me what's the best way.
Okay.
Because I am not an aficionado. I just know what I like. But
well, first you want to observe the wine and appreciate the clarity of it, the color, right? Color and clarity. You're going to give your wine just a little swirl, right? We don't want to go bananas and have a hurricane here. But no, just a little swirl, and that's going to open up the aromas. And then you want to put your nose deep into the bowl and take a nice big sniff. Now, the aromas, the scents that you're going to experience may be different from the tastes that you're going to experience. So, but it's also part of the tasting experience. So those aromas are going to add to your the full experience of the wine. So once you do that, you take a nice sip.
Oh, it's so yummy.
That's very
And
nice.
it's sweet. I mean,
Yes.
I need super sweet, and this is very satisfying to me.
Okay, that's why I recommended this particular wine for you, because it is one of our sweetest. As I said, all of our wines contain 0 added sugar. But what happens during fermentation is the yeasts on the grape eat the sugar within the grape. And if they're allowed to ferment all the way down to dry, there's usually just a gram or 2 of sugar left, which is called residual sugar. Sometimes there's no sugar left at all. This particular wine was allowed to stop fermentation a little bit early. So in this bottle, there are 14 and a half, a little less than 14 and a half grams of sugar. It's one of our highest sugars, but we had a very big demand for sweet wine. So here it is. That's why I recommended that we get this one for you.
Thank you. I love it already.
Yes.
And let me ask you, I usually drink something like a Moscato, which is considered a dessert wine, but I like it.
Yes.
So do you know approximately what the sugar count is usually in a glass of something like that?
It can vary from manufacturer to manufacturer. It can be anywhere from 16 to 60 grams of sugar in a bottle. And the thing about it is there are no wine labels, there are no nutrition labels on wine, so you can't go typically and look up that sugar content or any food additives or chemicals. It's not going to be listed on the wine.
Yeah, and I do Weight Watchers, so that's important.
Absolutely.
And that's difficult. I mean, a lot of things are in their app, but you don't know how accurate they are. And if you drink something that's not a major brand, again, you don't know.
Right.
So, but that's good to know because this is significantly lower.
Significantly lower. This one, like I said, is one of our highest. But the beauty of it is you can go on our website and all these wines are available online only. They're exclusive to Scout Cellar. But for each wine that you click on, you're going to be able to see exactly how much sugar's in that bottle.
Oh, wow,
so it'll have a little RS figure, which stands for residual sugar, and you'll be able to see that this per liter has 14 and a half grams of sugar. A wine bottle is 750 milliliters, so you can just count on just a little bit less.
Okay.
But because they are low sugar, they do qualify as keto friendly for those who are on low carb diets.
Oh,
and
perfect.
they're about a third less calories as well.
I got a lot of keto friends, so
Me too.
Drink up.
Let's cheers to that.
Yay!
It's delicious. So this wine is still has a full alcohol volume. So they're not reduced or watered down like some organic wines. This one is 12.3% alcohol.
Okay.
And it's a blend of Müller-Thurgau, Riesling, Gewürztraminer, and Pinot Gris.
Those are, I always buy those kinds.
So this is perfect wine for you then.
Yeah, I love it. I am loving it so far. It's so yummy.
Because we don't add sugar, the sweetness is detected through the grape itself. So that fruit is what's going to contribute that sweetness to your palate. And this is considered a very fruity wine, so it is going to have a sort of a sweeter taste to you than some of our other drier wines.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of dry, and I think that's because probably they're not as sweet. I don't love the feeling of it, the actual dryness. Some people love it, I don't. So this being fruity and sweet, I love it.
Well, sometimes that dryness, especially in red wines, can be caused from the tannins.
Okay.
That's what tends to give that really dry mouthfeel.
Yeah.
And a fun fact is that it's neither here nor there, but the more proteins you have in your saliva, the more dry you're going to experience those tannins.
Okay. Wow. I've got to pay attention to that. When we get to the red, we'll see.
Right? The next one's going to be...
Okay, now
This is our Gallivant Rosé. This is from Mendocino County. It is a blend of Syrah, Grenache, and Zinfandel. They happen to be 3 of my favorite grapes.
Me too. I love
So
all
delicious.
Of those. These are all the sweet ones.
Yes, exactly. And this is actually 0.5 grams of sugar in the entire bottle.
0.5.
0.5,
That's
less than
lower.
1 gram.
Okay.
Yes, the white was 14 and a half. This is
Wow.
0.5 grams of sugar.
Wow.
I should have told you that after you tasted it.
Okay, that's okay.
It's another one of our private labels, and as I mentioned, each label has a story. The Gallivant has to do with joy, living joyfully. So to sort of gallivant through life rather than trudging through, enjoying those small moments and celebrating the everything.
Oh, perfect. What's a perfect wine for celebrating?
Absolutely.
And it's pink.
It is pink.
I love it. Okay,
Let's cheers to that.
Cheers to pink.
To
and
pink
sweet
wine.
And clean. Wait, aren't we supposed to swirl and smell?
Yeah, we are. I've had this one many times. It's one of my favorite rosés.
It's a little bit milder than this one.
Yes,
I don't
it
smell
is.
the scent as strong.
Yeah, it is a little milder.
Yeah.
Now, rosés you can serve slightly warmer. We're serving it at the same temperature as the white.
Okay.
Once this sits out and opens up a little bit, you may get more aromas to it.
Okay.
Because this coldness tends to flatten it out, which is why you don't want to serve red wine cold, but you also don't want to serve it at room temperature.
Okay.
The perfect temperature really brings out the life of the wine. Pink wine is actually made from red grapes. Many people think it's a blend of red and white, but that's not true. It's red grapes, and the color is derived from how long the wine is allowed to sit in contact with the skins of the grapes.
Oh, okay.
So your lighter pinks have less contact with the skins, and your darker pinks are going to have more contact with those skins as they're fermenting.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. When I was looking at the wines on your website, I thought they were bought just from different wineries around the world. I didn't realize. Well, tell me how that works, because does she find wines and then she puts a specific label on them or combines them to make different types of wine like these?
There's a little bit of both.
Okay.
We opened with 7 wines. What happened was our Sarah was a lawyer, and she became a sommelier. She gave up her law career to pursue wine because that was her passion. And in her work in Napa Valley over the years, she developed wine headaches after just one glass of wine. And that became completely debilitating. So after a point, she made it her mission to research and find out what was going on. So she interviewed doctors and growers and holistic practitioners, and she found out how dirty wine was. Full of chemicals, full of sugar, full of pesticides. And as a wine expert, she was even unaware of this. So she went around the world to find wineries, winemakers, growers, vintners that were not adding these things to the wine. And she found 7. There are 3% of wineries, of vineyards worldwide making wine that qualify as clean crafted. We test every batch, every time, and only 15% are passing the test.
That's crazy.
This is how pervasive the use of chemicals and sugars are in our world.
And people don't realize how much crap they're drinking when they're out drinking wine.
Wine is probably one of the most polluted products we could consume.
Oh, that is scary.
Yes.
That's really scary.
Yes.
But fortunately, now they know about these.
Exactly. We originally opened up with those 7 wines from different wineries. So these are small mom and pop shops that are farming organically or biodynamically. And we would purchase up their entire lot oftentimes and then offer those for distribution around the United States. So as we've grown, we still continue to do that and partner with the wineries that are making wine in this fashion. But we also partnered with bottlers and growers and winemakers to create our own labels. So that's how we came up with the Gallivant and the Resident, for instance, which are some of our private labels. So they're making wine for us with their methods that they're already using, and they're labeling it on our behalf.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
Where were they selling before Sarah found them?
That's part of the beauty of the company, and one of the things that attracted me to it. They're small mom and pop shops, like I mentioned, many of them, and they have been working these lands for generations and generations, passing it down to their grandkids. And they don't necessarily have the budget to market it to the worldwide, so they would sell it locally. But because we're going and buying up entire vintages or buying the grapes from them, we're helping support those families for that year, for that vintage.
Wow,
so
that's
it
a
is
great
really,
reason to buy these wines.
Absolutely. So we're supporting the small business, we're supporting families, and then us as consultants, that's the way we run our business as well. We're a small business. So
Okay, so.
moving on to the Malbec?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to start our red wine. You typically don't enjoy red wines because of the sulfites?
Well, it's not that I don't enjoy them. It's just that I drank them when I was a lot younger, and then I became intolerant. It just, my nose would get all stuffed up, and I would get a very bad headache. So I haven't been drinking them on a regular basis for, I'd say, over 20 years.
Oh my goodness, your world is about to change. I had the same reaction to wine. I would get stuffy and a little bit headachy, and sulfites are to blame for part of that. But the other thing is that I have a milk sensitivity. And wine can be processed with animal byproducts. Anything from casein, which is milk protein, which is what affected me, to gelatin, egg whites, crustacean shells, fish bladders, or even blood and bone marrow can be added and then filtered out of the wine.
Ew.
The reason they do this is to give it that clarity. It's called the fining process, to achieve that beautiful color and clarity.
I'm so grossed out right now.
Right, and of course it's not on the label.
So they're doing all that, putting all that crap in the wine, and then people who have allergies or sensitivities don't know that there are elements of it in the wine.
Correct.
That's one of the reasons they're having reactions.
I assume because they filtered out, it's not considered an ingredient, but also it's not regulated by the FDA. It's regulated by the Drug and Tobacco Administration, right? 99% of our wines qualify as vegan because that process isn't done to the wines.
Vegans.
Yes.
Pay attention. I mean, I would assume that vegans would be drinking wine anyway.
Right.
But they're not aware of that.
That was one of the eye-openers for me, is that I do have vegan friends, and you assume if you're drinking wine, there's not going to be an animal byproduct that has touched that, but you can assume wrong because
Oh my God.
you never know, and that's really a shame.
This is so much more educational than I was even anticipating. Oh my God.
I'm telling you, I've learned so much in the past year and a half that I've been with the company. It's been mind-boggling.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. And that's just for these two. All right. So let's move on to the red.
So we're going to try this Solar de Alma. It's from Argentina. This is not a private label. This is a winery that we partner with to offer their wine that they've already created and bottled. This is a Malbec blend.
It's such a beautiful color. I wore my wine colored dress.
That's beautiful. I wore my wine necklace for you.
Oh, thank you. We're both wine themed today.
Now let me tell you about the color. This color is derived naturally from the grapes, but many of your red wines, whether it be a $5 bottle or a $500 bottle, might contain something called mega purple. Yes, I know, it gets worse and worse.
Oh my God.
Mega purple is a coloring agent that they add, it's a highly concentrated sugar that they add to wines to give it that beautiful color and to correct flavor, right? Because when you're machine harvesting grapes, you can be getting sour grapes, unripe grapes, and you're going to have to add a lot of stuff in there to correct the flavor.
Oh no.
Yeah, but these do not contain mega purple. These are beautiful based on the integrity of the grape itself.
Okay, so these are all from good grapes.
Absolutely.
And they don't have to worry about any bad grapes getting in there because they're making sure it's just
our
good
grapes are hand harvested, usually at night, so that they don't have to sit in the sun, and so that there's no spray that needs to be added on to preserve them from the sun. It's amazing the practices that go on in conventional wine.
All these little details.
All these little details.
That's really quite amazing.
There's a reason that hazmat suits are a whole section at the wine convention.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. You've got your barrels section and your bottling section, your labels section, your hazmat section, and your chemical additives section.
Well, I would think that would tell. Who are usually at those conventions? Winemakers?
Winemakers,
So
yes.
they're aware of this. It's not a big deal. But the consumers don't know about this.
Consumers don't know.
Oh my God.
Yes.
All right.
But now we do.
Yay. Clean.
Clean
It
crafted.
smells so good. Clean crafted.
This to me has that dryness you were talking about.
No, I feel that, but I like it. You know, behind it, there's this this fruitiness.
Yes.
Yes, so that doesn't bother me as much. I think
Right. The dryness is on the finish.
Yes, and I think when I've had dry wine in the past, I feel like it overtakes the flavor. That I'm so focused on the dryness that I don't even really taste the wine.
Yeah, that's a shame because the beauty of craft wine is that it is indicative of when it grew, where it grew, the season. If this bottle, the next vintage, is going to have slightly different characteristics next year than it does now. Whereas manufactured wine is going to taste the same bottle after bottle, year after year, glass after glass, and that's because they correct it with all those additives.
Oh, they correct it. God.
Absolutely.
So this just is what it is.
It is what it is. Yep.
Okay. You know what I want to do? I know we're doing a tasting, but I want to do a little more of this to see how it affects me.
Sure.
And hopefully I'll still be coherent.
I'll tuck you into bed if necessary.
Turn the camera off and...
I love this wine. Yeah. This is, let me see, 2.19 grams of sugar per liter.
So it's, and this was even less.
This was less. Most of our wines are like this rosé in terms of sugar, about 0.5 to 1 grams of sugar. Okay. We do get a couple of 2s and 3s and 4s, but it's still considered a very low carbohydrate drink. It's still a third less calories than your typical wine. Yeah. It happens to be one of my favorite reds. This is the second vintage that we've had of it, and I absolutely adore it. It's a blend of Malbec and Petit Verdot. It is 14.2% alcohol.
A little higher than the others.
A little higher,
Just
right. So higher. Just because it's clean crafted doesn't mean it ain't alcohol. So
yeah.
You still gotta watch
I'm
it.
Feeling it. I'm feeling it. No, but I'm very excited about this because I would love to be able to drink red again.
I adore red wine.
Yeah, I have not.
For a long time. Before I started with the company, I had no exposure to rosé, and now I have a great appreciation of rosé. Actually, I have a very fun rosé story that I love to share.
Share, please.
Which my first exposure to rosé was last year when we had a beautiful French rosé called No Sex for Butterfly.
Okay, wait, what?
That's correct. Wait, what? No Sex for Butterfly.
Okay.
And the reason I love to share this story is because obviously the fun and titillating name, but also it demonstrates how clean crafted growers work their fields. So because of course we're not using pesticides, caterpillars are still a problem. They will eat the crop, they will damage the crop. And clean crafted growing is very risky. It's 2 tons per acre yield versus 10 tons if they're using chemicals. So they have to be very vigilant. So in order to repel caterpillars, what they do instead of spraying toxic poison is they put these little emitters in the vineyards, and the emitters send out butterfly pheromones. So the male butterflies come floating in, And they get so confused by these pheromones that they can't find the girls. So there's no hanky-panky and no caterpillars are produced. Thus, no sex for butterfly.
Wow. Okay, that's a fascinating story.
Yes, absolutely. And it happened to be my favorite rosé of last year. It was so delicious, and it's back again this year. So
I'm
really
going to have
excited.
to try that one.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to order that one. That sounds really good. I love that. And the story is so great.
Right? It's
And
just
there's-
an example of how we work with nature instead of against it.
Okay, let's know a little bit more.
Oh, you're liking the red.
I am liking
You
the
gotta
red, but-
test it. You gotta
but
test it.
It's an experiment
It is.
because I don't want to get plastered, but I genuinely want to know how it's going to make me feel.
It's going to make you feel great.
What is the highest sugar content wine that Scout Cellar carries? Because I know they're all pretty much low.
Right. Currently, I believe it's this resident.
Okay.
Now, when you get into sparkling wines go through double fermentation, so they tend to be higher in sugars just in general. So we did have a sparkling wine, I think last season, that was right around the same 14 or 15 grams per sugar. The sparkling wines that we've had most recently have been 8 and 6, which are very, very low for a sparkling wine.
Yeah.
So those tend to be, if you're watching your carbohydrates, you're watching your sugars, you want to always pay attention to the sparklings because those tend to be higher in sugar.
Okay, I wasn't even aware that you had sparkling wine there.
It's a luxurious commodity. Sparkling wine is, in the clean crafted world, is much harder to come by. But now we're partnering with so many more winemakers that we're getting those more regularly. And because the clean crafted wine is catching on, it's becoming sort of a household term, more and more growers want to change the way they're doing things to comply with this. We sold $20 million of wine in our first year.
You're kidding.
Our projections
Wow.
was we hoped to sell, I think it was 5 million in 3 years, but we did 20 million in one. And so it's really just blown our minds, Sarah's mind, and it's just beyond anything we could have expected. But it does speak to the demand for cleaner living.
Yes, I'm very blown away by that because
Absolutely.
that's huge.
Yes.
Oh my
We're
God.
on track. This is our birthday month, our second birthday. We're
Happy
on track
birthday.
to Happy birthday,
Happy
Scout Cellar.
birthday. Woo.
Woo! We're on track to sell almost 2 million bottles of wine so far, which is astounding.
This year.
In our 2 years.
In the
Yes,
two-
in our 2 years. So about 1 million bottles a year.
Oh my God. Oh, bottles.
Bottles.
2 million bottles a year. Because you
Yeah.
sold
20 million in our first year. We're over 30 million now.
Oh.
And because the holiday season is a wine season, we expect to hit 50 or 60 million by the year's end.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh
There's a
gosh.
huge demand for consumer awareness for, we want to know what's in our glass and what's not in our glass.
Well, I hope a lot of people see this so that more people become aware because I think this is why I had you here because I think this is so incredibly valuable. Me being a holistic health practitioner and being on Weight Watchers, I'm all about my splurges and I kind of feel bad because sometimes I'll do a lot of posts about, and here's my cake with coffee. It's coffee cake, right? I think I represent the majority of people who cannot stick to something super strict all the time. So this to me kind of is aligned with where I'm trying to find my healthier options. So I think this is going to really help people who want to be healthy,
yes.
stick with either a specific eating plan like keto, or like me if they're on Weight Watchers. Are there nutrition facts for each wine anywhere on the website, or is it just too hard to break down?
We don't have a list of nutrition facts for the wine. What we do have is whether or not they qualify as vegan, whether they came from organic or biodynamic farms, and definitely that residual sugar content and the alcohol content. Because that's going to be readily available on each wine you click on. Okay. There will also be a story on how that wine was crafted, how it was fermented, whether it was in steel or oak, what vineyard it came from. There's usually a very cool story about the vineyard itself because, like I said, these are all family projects.
The wine itself is probably comparable points-wise to what you can find in the Weight Watchers app, but probably not because the sugar content is lower.
The sugar content is lower and the caloric content is also lower. It's about
Okay.
a third less than a traditional wine.
Okay.
But to me, it's all about life balance, and that's why I've always included wine in my wellness philosophy, even before I found Clean Crafted, because there has to be some give and take, and you have to have joy in your life.
Yes, which includes wine.
Which includes wine.
And chocolate.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Wine
Ready
and
Whip.
chocolate.
Cupcakes and gotta have all that stuff in moderation.
In moderation,
But this is a
right?
great way to have your wine in a really healthy way.
Absolutely.
It's going to support your health.
You can have that life balance, you can enjoy that wine, but it's not going to totally sabotage your efforts calorically, organically, or anything like that.
Do they talk anywhere in Scout Cellar about the health benefits of red wine, the resveratrol and all that kind of thing?
That's not something that we talk about as a company, but
it is a thing.
It is a thing,
Yeah,
yes.
so.
Resveratrol is, of course, one of the antioxidants in wine, especially in red wine. The standard report is drinking a glass a day has a lot of health benefits. It's good for your blood sugar, it's good for heart health and cardiovascular, but, not in excess.
No, but just like the one glass a day.
Yeah, a glass a day is supposed to be very heart healthy.
Let's finish this.
Let's finish this.
Denise, tell me, what is your favorite way to enjoy wine?
Oh, there's so many ways to enjoy wine. My absolute favorite way to enjoy wine is on a girls' night out or a girls' night in with my besties. Okay. It's usually a bottle or two of red wine, and it comes with a lot of laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've given us so many great positive aspects about these wines. So what do your customers love about Scout Cellar?
They love the fact that they have peace of mind knowing what's in the wine, what's not in the wine. They love the fact that they can just buy a bottle of wine, or they can sign up for the club. There's so much flexibility that way.
I was going to ask how the wine is sold and where can people buy it, but they can buy it individually.
Yes.
And we want them to go to your website.
Right, wineandwellnesswoman.com.
Yes.
So you can buy just a bottle, or we do have volume discounts. If you buy 6 bottles, it's 5% off. 12 bottles, which is a case of wine, is 10% off. And if you do want to do that club option, those clubs it's really cool. It's one of the best clubs I've ever seen for any kind of product. So you have a 6-bottle option and a 12-bottle option, and you can do it with reds, whites, or mixed, which is pretty cool. There's no fee to join or cancel, and the beauty of it is that you can have that delivered monthly, every other month, or even every 3 months.
Oh, okay.
And that comes with additional discounts. The wine is pre-selected by Sarah, our owner. But it also comes with exclusives that you can't get a la carte on the website.
Oh,
yeah, so there are perks, right?
Okay, that sounds like a really good deal without a lot of big obligations.
Absolutely, and you can change it anytime.
Okay, great. I'm so excited about this, and I think it's such a great company and such a great concept. And yay to Sarah for coming up with it and creating it. So we just mentioned your website, but let's mention it again. Where can people find you?
People can find me on wineandwellnesswoman.com. My contact information is there, and I love recommending bottles for people. I thrive on that because I want to see you enjoying that product, right?
Yes, and she recommended things to me based on what she knew. I said, this is what I like, and she made recommendations, and I read all the descriptions and chose what looked good to me, and I'm really, really happy with the selections. And I know it's only been a few minutes, but I'm not feeling anything.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Not an inkling. I can breathe. I have no headache. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty amazed by that.
That's great. I want to ask you how you're feeling tomorrow.
Yeah. I might have to do a follow-up at the end of this video. I might have a little bit more with dinner.
I think that's a great idea.
And see how I feel. The red specifically. So are there any specials available through Scout Cellar?
Absolutely. So every month we have a 4-bottle tasting set, and that's usually priced around $99, $100. Which for most of the year is free shipping. Mm-hmm. During summer, we do have a small shipping fee because we have to do specialized shipping to protect it from the heat.
Yeah.
That 4-bottle tasting set changes every month, and it's a nice array of an introduction to Clean Crafted. And then we do have, for the holidays coming out very soon, an array of holiday gift sets that you'll be able to send to your friends and family and to yourself, and that's going to be really exciting.
That would be a great gift for the holidays.
Absolutely. Wine makes a perfect gift, and Clean Crafted wine is even better because you're not offending people with food allergies or vegans or keto or chemical aversions or anything like that. It's a really great gift.
Thank you so much for joining us this week. For the best information about law of attraction and holistic living, remember to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified every time I post a new video. Denise, thank you so much for being here this week and sharing all of this information and these amazing wines. I have learned so much. I'm sure everybody else did too.
It is my absolute pleasure.
Yeah. Okay, one more cheers.
One more cheers.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next time. So it's a few hours after my interview with Denise where I had a good amount of red wine to test it out and see how it would affect me with my nose and head. And I'm happy to report that I have no stuffed up nose, no headache. I feel really good. I'm having a little bit more with dinner, and I'm excited that I can enjoy red wine again. So yes, and Boo Boo agrees. If you have had problems with red wine, with the tannins, with sulfites, you are not going to have any problems with the wines from Scout Cellar. So cheers!
It's such a sad feeling when you get to the bottom of your glass.
But there's another bottle.
There is.
I'm a little OCD sometimes.
Like, get that ruler out.
It's not exactly straight.
Blooper reel!
I know. Woo! kicking in. Or one of us. Yeah, one of that. That'll go in. That's going in the end.